All right, so for this week's weekly discussion, we're going to be talking about an anime that just premiered this past Thursday, The Way of the Househusband. This is a Netflix original anime series. So let me first explain the meaning behind that, right? So as a Netflix original anime series, Netflix produced this, okay? They don't just have the license for it, right? So Shaman King, they have the license for. So that's why we do not have a legal way to stream Shaman King until Netflix decides to, eventually drop it, and we get that, months down the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
But since this is a original anime series done by them and JC Staff, what a fantastic combination. Netflix and JC Staff, they own it completely, right? So they can drop it whenever they want because they're the ones that produced it. So we don't have Netflix jail with this one. And because they produced it, Netflix likes to give us, bingeable content, right? So we got 5 episodes. Me and you are all expecting this to be, a weekly, regular series, but no, we got five episodes, 17 minutes each. Only on Netflix, and yeah, so that's the difference between a Netflix license and them producing the series themselves. So just to clear that up, we were confused. We thought that we'd be reviewing this weekly. Thank God we don't have to. The Way of the Househusband. What did you think, Germs? What did you think?
It's unfortunately exactly what I thought it was gonna be, which was a PowerPoint slideshow. Like, There's some good things to it, but due to it being a PowerPoint slideshow, it can only be as good as a PowerPoint slideshow can be. It could have good writing and good characters and dialogue and stuff, on paper, but actually watching it, this wasn't it, Chief. This wasn't it.
This was not it. And so before anyone says, okay, but you can't just judge an anime by the animation, let me remind the folks at home. This is anime. It's animated manga. It's taking the original source and it's bringing the panels to life. It's actually animating them. And what we got with this series is not really an animated series. I mean, to say this is animated is kind of an insult to something like Demon Slayer or something that like a Ufotable or Mappa would put out, right? I mean, there's a lot of scenes in here where there's square still frames of the characters. I mean, it's almost like a panel from the manga. They just ripped one of these panels out, and there's slight animated movements, right? Like their mouth might be moving, maybe you see a little bit with their hands or they're doing something, but it's really not animated. Like, this is not really an animated series. What it is an animated manga, right? Like, this is manga panels that have slight movement to them. But the reason we love anime is because we want to see this
fluid.
We want to see this completely fluid. We want to see this brought to life, right? We don't want panels that have slight, animations to them. We want to see a complete, a redesign, complete animation takeover, and that is absolutely not what we got with this. And so, this is what you were expecting it to be.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's not like it was bad animation. It just there wasn't animation.
There wasn't.
Yeah, we weren't expecting any kind of Attack on Titan or Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen hype fight moment and whatever. We were just expecting just the bare minimum, But I guess the bare minimum Netflix and JC Staff can't give us,
Yeah, and again, just to be, because I know that there's going to be comments out there, and people, if you look through comments, people are already fighting. Well, the mangaka likes how the series is done. They think it's comedic, and they like the manga style. But just because the mangaka likes it, that doesn't mean it's good. It might mean it's authentic, but that doesn't mean it's actually good. The mangaka was involved in the 2nd season of Promised Neverland. Look how that turned out. I mean, is anyone going to sit here and say, well, the mangaka was, they were sitting through that process, so the 2nd season of Promised Neverland's good because the mangaka was involved in that. No, that doesn't automatically, it may make it more authentic to the mangaka's desires, the original creator's desires, but that doesn't mean it's good. Um, let's talk about, is there any what are the positives here? Let's get to the positives before we kind of say our piece with this.
Positives, if it was basically like everything else was there. The voice acting, especially the dub, fantastic. They didn't get just random super shitty mics or like anything. It's like this was high quality, voice acted things, and the sub and it was good as well. It's just when the sound effects and like the comedy. Like if I was like I was watching the dub so I could look away a little bit. So like I felt just not watching it and just hearing it was more fun. And then I'd look over and then it'd be like 1 frame a second. Sometimes not even a frame a second for some of these like action quote unquote scenes.
You weren't missing much, dude. You weren't missing much. If there's any anime that you can look away from, this would be like the one.
Because like the comedy, like I could feel that it was there, and like I imagine if there was like a really cool like it's basically like just like read the manga while you're listening to this. It's like an audiobook of manga.
Yeah, and it technically it does, because I was getting so bored. I did pull out the manga and start flipping through it. They do it out of order slightly, but what's funny is that they do pretty much adapt the first 3 volumes. It looks like. Yeah,
it's just the actual animation will just kind of like brings it all the way down, which is it's the important part. That's the core of an anime is its animation.
Yeah, if you want to see manga panels, why wouldn't you read the manga? Like, I'm trying to understand what the point is. The point of this is, if you want to see panels, read the manga. You don't need to see them slightly move their mouth. It's the humor is lost in this anime, right? So there's that one little, there's 30 mini episodes or 30 chapters in this 5 episode span, right? At the end of one of them, he gets in a fight with one dude, I think a former Yakuza dude, and they take pictures of their food and they upload them on Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Tatsu wins because he has 1 like and the other guy has no 0 like on his photo, or the other way around. But that scene goes by so quick because it's a slideshow, right? So it's just picture after picture after picture after picture, right? With the manga, you can read that panel and digest it. You can look and see, oh, he has 1 like, he has no likes. That's pretty funny. Like, that's why one of these characters is all bummed and the other is all happy that they won the battle, so to speak, right? It's funny. With this anime, because they're cramming 30 mini episodes into 5 episodes, actual episodes, some of these slideshow presentations go by quick. And so I can imagine someone watching that mini episode and like at the end of that episode being like, like what happened there? Like, why is what? Like, it just goes by so quick. It's not easily digestible. And that is the biggest problem I think I have with this Netflix series. The humor is lost, right? This is a comedic manga. That's all it's meant to be. It's not meant to be anything else other than a comedy. And if you can't, this is what I said in the preseason thoughts. If you can't get the comedy right, then it fails, right? It's like watching a scary movie and not being scared at all, right? Mm-hmm. Like if this comedy is not funny, like, did you find this anime funny at all?
Well, this is actually the one thing I'm different on. I think actually there's actually a pretty good amount of moments that were actually kind of funny. Like when he goes to the do yoga and everything. And just like the way like he's saying random things and all that kind of stuff, or like the crate battle, that was a pretty funny one. But like, I think, well, for me, I haven't seen anything previously, so I think the comedy wasn't lost too much on me. Maybe obviously I would have probably enjoyed it more if some of the panels, if I was looking at actual manga panels of some of the things, like it looked real nice. I can pause on it on my own time. But to me, I think the comedy wasn't lost too much. It was just the animation that really let it down.
Yeah, so for me, and again, I'm glad that you found it funny. I read the source material, man. The manga's funnier.
Welcome to the club.
The faces in the manga. This is why I stay away from manga, man. This is why, because it's like reading a novel before watching the movie. The movie's not going to be as good as the novel, so reading the novel is going to ruin your experience with the film. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's why I think if you watch a film, then you want to see a better version of it, go read the manga. That way, it kind of doesn't kill your first viewing of the movie when it comes out on the big screen. The problem is that I read the manga first, and so I know that the faces are animated, drawn, but way better in the manga, right? Like you see, they're just more detailed, more funny. Like the cat mini episode, like that was so funny in the manga, and then here it just kind of happens, and you get a slideshow presentation, and it's kind of funny. Like the content is there. Like this can be really, really funny. It doesn't. The delivery doesn't work. It's a slideshow presentation, and it just felt weird. It felt awful. It felt hard to sit through for me. And I hope I'm not being too hard on it. I mean, let's talk about the good thing, right? The dub. We both agree on the dub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jonas Scott does Tatsu, the former Yakuza boss. He also did a character in High Rise Invasion, which is, an anime that we recently talked about. I recently talked about. We'll link that right there for you guys to see. So the dub is good. I thought the music was good too, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The OP is visually, it's a little too much. It's like, what the fuck am I watching? Like this is like all over the place. But the music is good. Even the ending wasn't too bad. Again, visually it's like nothing, but it sounded good, right? Like the soundtrack is there.
Yeah, it's not like someone phoned it in or anything. Maybe a little bit, but like no, it wasn't. Like they bought the basic anime package,
Is there any other positives for you? Do you have any other good things to say about it?
No, just other than just like I thought the comedy wasn't too lost to me. But like just the animation was the thing. It's like that's the whole main thing. It's just like the core is just like a empty shell, Everything else works. So it should be like, well, if there was a good core there and a good animation, this would be top tier. We'd be laughing our asses off. But because the core of the show is just so not there, it's just like, well, it doesn't matter how strong you are, if you have like you die in one punch or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the foundation, it's got a good foundation, but the execution was off. And that's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Did I hate it? No. I just found it hard to sit through, especially because I wanted to, it's only 17 minutes. I wanted to sit through and watch all 5, and I did. But I found it difficult to do that. And I should not be doing that with The Way of the Househusband. The Way of the Househusband is funny. It's hilarious. But why would anyone want to watch this as opposed to reading the manga? Like if you really, really like the manga and you want to see what Netflix and JC Staff were able to do with it, give it a watch for shits and giggles. But in no universe is this a better experience than the actual manga. I mean, in my opinion, it's almost it's almost like a fact. Like in no way is this going to be, a more enjoyable experience than the manga. So that's how I feel about it. You want to wrap this up and give us some final thoughts here, Germs?
Yeah. Just as I was saying this whole time, it's just like the comedy was good, the voice acting and everything else is all good. It's just a slideshow, not an anime. So that's if you're okay with looking away from the screen, like how I was doing, I was doing some other stuff on the side, just like put it on the side. Yeah, every once in a while I look over and okay, laugh a little bit, and then, but don't expecting a 10 out of 10 like. You turn off all the lights and like really immerse yourself in this. No, you want just on the side, just while you're doing something else.
All right, so I'm going to throw a curveball at you. I'm going to put you on the hot spot here. When I reviewed High Rise Invasion, which I've been making comparisons with this anime, I gave it a score, I'm pretty sure. What would you give this out of 10? Off the top of your head, if I'm like, The Way of the Househusband by Netflix, what do you give this out of 10?
I would unfortunately give it. Well, first I'll explain how I usually rate things. So for me, a 5 is an average. So like a 4 is bad, a 3 is like really bad, 2 is like horrible, awful, and then 1 is like I don't know. It's you know it's a 1.
Yeah,
but to me, on this 1 to 10 scale of 5 being average to me, I'd have to either give it like a 4 or a 3. Like it's bad, it's not like don't ever see this bad, but it's like you're not gonna have the greatest time watching it. There's so many other things you could watch, or just read the manga or something like that.
For me, it is a don't see this. Why? For me personally, I don't see the point in seeing this. These, 17 times 5 minutes that you spent watching this, you could have been reading the manga at your own pace, reading it faster, slowing down when you want to look at a panel and laugh at it if it's a really funny scene. Like, so yeah, so my grading scale is like the typical, grading scale for like school in America, right? Like, so a 70 would be like a C, a 80 is like a B, a 90 is an A. So like a 7 out of 10 for me is an average or a good. Like it was a good anime. It was decent. Decent average is like a 7. I would agree with you. I'd still give it like a 4, honestly. Like, I'm here to watch anime, and this is just not really an anime. And the fact that I read the manga first, it ruins my experience. Yeah, maybe it won't be as bad for you if you haven't read the manga, but I'm here to tell you, read the manga. There's no reason to watch this. So
I should have wore my shirt that said "Read the manga."
You should have. And did you see that this is a part 2 is already getting announced for this?
No, unfortunately.
Part 2, Netflix has already announced a part 2. So this first part went through the first 3 volumes of the manga. The next part will maybe catch up to the 6 that are out here in America. So I don't know. I'm not watching it. There's just no point in watching it. The manga, unless we get an actual adaptation with an actual anime, I don't see a reason to watch this. So yeah. All right, so looks like a 4 from both of us, or a 4 or a 3 from you. So that's the way of the house husband. It's what we thought it would be, which is disappointing. So I hate to be that guy. I've always hated these guys, but read the manga. Read the manga. So.